Hello and welcome to Fender Play Live. I'm Eugene Edwards, and today we're going to explore drop D tuning. We will show how it's a great introduction to alternate tunings, and we'll play some examples from the site. Helping us with today's topic is our good friend, Barrett Wilson. Barrett, welcome, sir.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's super exciting. Dylan, Eugene, super excited.
Well, we're super excited to have you. It's been a while that we've had you on this show. Of course, you and I know each other a lot. We all know each other from through our Fender Play connections. Yes, but some of you, Barrett, you may recognize as a Fender Play instructor who's been with us from the start as we celebrate 4 years of play. But he's also a multi-instrumentalist and releases original music, and we'll hear about that later in the show. And also, we always have Mr. Drop D himself. Drop D Dylan Caligiuri, the birthday lad. Look at this
Dropping
kid.
It down.
Happy birthday, Dylan, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Birthday. Yay.
It is Doth's birthday today.
I want a lot of happy birthdays in the comment sections throughout this show. Barrett, what are you playing today? Run us through your gear real quick.
I am playing an Ultra Jazzmaster here, and it's a cobalt blue. It's very shiny, very sparkly. Look at that spark right there.
It catches the light. Nice.
Courageous.
Catches the light just nice.
Can we hear a little bit of it?
Sure. There we go.
Pretty surfy.
Bye. I can hear the cobalt. I can hear it.
You can hear
It's
the
the
cobalt.
cobalt. Yeah.
And Dylan, what do you have?
I have this Seafoam Green Ampro 2 Deluxe Telly. That's right. I love this guitar, guys.
It's a double humbuck. Oh, dear. All right, go for it. Yeah, by all means.
Anyways, this thing, honestly, this thing smokes.
It's your birthday. Go crazy, buddy. Hey, and Dylan, thank you for paying the ransom. It's nice to be back. That was a solid.
I'm glad. Yeah.
That was nice. This, of course, this is the Paramount Acoustic. It's basically just the simple dreadnought that Fender makes, and I do enjoy it. And of course, it is in drop D tuning. So let's get to it. As you can see, we have both electric and acoustic guitars here, so drop D tuning is available to all of you. We will be playing some songs from the site today, and if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments section, and we'll try to answer them. Let's start with hearing some drop D. Barrett, can you play some Iron and Wine for us, please?
Absolutely. This is Naked As We Came, Iron and Wine. She says, wake up, it's no use pretending. I'll keep stealing, breathing her. Birds are leaving over autumn's ending. One of us will die inside these arms, eyes wide open, naked as we one will spread our ashes round the yard.
There you go.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful melody, beautifully sung. So let's start at the beginning here, Barrett. What is drop D tuning when we say this? What is this?
Okay, so drop D tuning, super simple. All we're doing is taking our low E string here and we're lowering it a whole step. So we're detuning it down, essentially.
And we can everything else stays the same.
Everything else stays the same, which makes it very simple, very fun. You can do it on most any guitar. So in this case, I have a capo on the 2nd fret. So I've done the same tuning, but I've put the capo on the 2nd fret, which allows me to play this song in this particular key.
Great. Okay, so that's the first thing out of the way there. If we're in drop D tuning, I guess that doesn't mean that we have to play in the key of D necessarily, right? We have some ways around that. One is we use a capo. So you're at the 2nd fret, and if I do my quick math, that tells me that I just heard you play in the key of E major.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with this song, what we've done, it's really kind of revolves around 2 chords, essentially. We have this big, nice, open kind of D chord, similar to your C shape. So a lot of us have seen this where we just take this, we slide it up, we get this big old D shape happening, and we're just moving the bass line. Right? We're adding some Travis picking here. So it has a really cool effect. On the original song, it's acoustic guitar. I have some like kind of effects on here to kind of make it shimmer. And then it goes from here to this kind of G shape, these open sort of G notes here, and then more moving around that bass note on the low strings there.
Really pianoistic sounding. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Dylan, here's a kind of a guitar construction question here. If we're dropping our low E string down a full step, do we have to have like special setup work done after that, or is it not that drastic?
That's a good question. That is a good question. You know what? It's only one string and it's only a whole step. So your pounds per pressure, if you will, are just diminishing ever so slightly. So I really don't think you'll see a big change. Now, if you have a floating bridge, or if your bridge is not tied down basically and it's moving, you might see the bridge move back just a little bit, but hopefully that won't make any big changes. If so, you might need to give yourself a little bit of relief.
Okay, so look out for those floating bridges.
That's
now,
right.
Why do we think that this is such a popular alternate tuning?
Well, I'll go for this one. It's just, like for lack of better words, it's just fun. Like you can kind of play around with these these first low 3 strings. Now it's like, here, I'll take my capo off. Now we're at low D. This was low E, but we've taken it down. We have A, and then we have D. And I guess I should show, for an E, so this would be our normal kind of tuning here.
Yeah.
So now we're going to take this low E and we're going to bring it down, and we can actually use our D string here to kind of match it, right? So I'm going to drop that down lower. Now, of course, you want to use a tuner for this as well to kind of get it right.
But in a pinch, you could just match it with the octave below your open D string. I guess now
Absolutely.
you have two open D strings. Hey,
2 open D strings, low and regular.
and so we're gonna go ahead. I'm sorry, Barrett.
Oh no, go ahead, Eugene.
Well, I'll just say so it's simple and it's fun to mess around with because obviously you can drone these low strings and then play these upper.
Yeah.
So you get some nice with those upper chord shapes. Seems like it suits a lot of different genres. So let's talk about that a little bit. And why is this so applicable to different styles of music?
Dylan, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah. So one of the big things about this, right, is that you have these strings open, which normally to make this shape that you're hearing right now, you'd have to fret these 2 notes here. So you're making, you've got the root, the 5th, and the root again. So you can actually play chords. I can play chords here. So it allows for a ton of different access that you wouldn't normally have on a guitar, similar to the way you could do it on a piano. And it's basically, you can do all this stuff in E, now you can do all this stuff in D, and you have even more access than you would normally with that drum string.
You almost have this
that just lends to every genre.
You have this big power chord on your low open 3 strings.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right there. So here's a great question. And Dylan, I want you to take this one. This is from Eb Dobson on YouTube. What effect does string gauge and scale length have on drop tunings?
M. Dobson, that's a great question. So you know what? Scale length, I don't think you're going to have a big deal. So when you play guitar for a long time, this whole act of going into drop D just becomes reflexive. So if I'm like, here's my E, so let's see. I was close. It's like, it's about a half a turn or a third of a turn. On a different scale size guitar, you wouldn't need quite as much of a turn because the scale's shorter. That's the only difference there. As far as the string length and gauge goes, the length wouldn't be an issue. That's the same issue as scale, but the gauge, maybe it would get a little slinky moving it down a whole step. It might, but I don't think it's gonna be a big deal.
So those lighter gauges, 9s and 10s.
Yeah.
Just look out because if you hit that open low string too hard, a pitch could get around. As where the heavier gauge strings are, obviously they're stiffer, so they might retain pitch a little better. But that's the only thing. You might just adjust in your strum hand anyway. Let's get back to some playing. Barrett, can you play us something in drop D from the world of rock? How about some Nirvana?
Ooh,
Absolutely. Let's do some All Apologies.
Cool.
All right.
I wish I was like you, easily amused. Find my nest of song. Everything's my fault. I'll take all the blame. I see foam shame. Sunburn, freeze, or burn. Choking on the ashes of her enemy. In the sun, I feel as one. In the sun, Mary, Mary, yeah, yeah,
Wow. That was actually, and that's what I wanted for my birthday was Barrett to sing to me. And so
Oh, there
got
you
it.
go.
I chose that instead of Happy Birthday. Everybody gets Happy Birthday.
Wishes come true here on Fender Play Live. So Barrett, what does drop D lend to this song? And then I'm
So
gonna
this
follow up
is-
with rock in general, but this song here.
This one is total drone, absolutely. So we've got that low open D ringing out, and then we're just moving around notes of our D major scale. And you can keep it really loose, which is the fun thing about it. You can keep hitting this, you don't have to be super clean with this. Now you do kind of have to watch out when you go up here. You may want to mute this higher D string. But also, this one's great because then it goes to that one finger power chord thing. On the 5th fret, this would be a G power chord, and it just holds it there. So we've got a little bit of drone, a little bit of one finger power chord, and you got yourself a song.
And it seems like, Dylan, it seems like we're covering a larger spectrum, a larger octave spread. Is
Yeah.
that right? Because we've got this, and then we got. So that kind of fills out a little more range than a typical
we've expanded the guitar by a whole step
Yeah.
on our lowest note.
And
Yeah,
is that
so
why
it's-
this applies to rock really well? Because it's such a guitar-based genre, and
Well,
then we.
since you mention it,
Yeah?
Gene, actually, absolutely it is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, lower
was
is
wrong.
better when it comes to metal and rock. Everyone knows that.
Yes.
And we will be hearing some. We have a great question from Lone Star 3000. I'm assuming they're tuning in from the nation of Texas. Can switching between alternate tunings cause your strings to wear out faster? Barrett.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I wouldn't imagine with drop D specifically, just because it's the one string. With other tunings, however, sometimes people will set up their guitars for that specific tuning and they'll just leave them there. So in that case, it wouldn't wear out any faster than the rest. But if you're constantly switching between a bunch of alternate tunings, I would imagine maybe a little bit.
You know what? I used to eat donuts and play guitar, and I know you shouldn't do that, but I would literally, I'd get down and there'd be like sugar, and I would just, and
That's lesson
honestly-
one on Fender Play. You didn't catch
honestly,
that.
and the strings made it. They made it. So I think you're good.
Okay,
I think you're good.
Yeah.
so he put it to the test there for you, Lone Star. Ray Finkel says we need some bass drop D, please. But begs the question: can bassists play in drop D? Dylan.
You bet your buttons, Ray. They sure can. In fact, they do. The only time they can get away with not playing in drop D would be if they have a 5-string bass, right?
yeah.
Because
Good point. Then they don't need it.
Yeah.
Quite famous. Actually, Paul McCartney did on a few, quite a few Beatles songs. At the end of "I Want You, She's So Heavy," he's clearly has the E string tuned down. Also, Eric Gale Sr., who was a session guitar player but played bass on the session for Brown Eyed Girl, and that
Oh, really?
clearly
way.
he has a.
Oh,
drop
that's
going on.
right.
Doom,
Yeah.
doom, do, do. That's the only way you can do that
Yeah.
walk up. So it's a very famous bass line, and we hear it all the time. Maybe some people say too often at weddings, but
No,
it's a very
there's never too much of that.
No, that song is great.
completely legit and actually quite feasible. And on Facebook, Keith Means is saying you
Keith!
Keith.
Oh, hey, Keith.
We just yell Keith. You think
No, we know. It's Keith. It's Keith.
Keith. I mean, I know what Keith means. You normally think metal with drop D, but hearing some cool mellow tones tonight is a nice transition to our next tune. Dylan, it's your turn.
Yes.
Show us from the world of metal.
Well, as you put it, Keith, those cool mellow tones are great, but let's face it, drop D is for metal guitar players, and we can debate this till the end of the ages, right? But I want to take you guys to a certain place. I had a smoke machine set up. We'll just do it without it. I'll just have to. Okay, we'll just make this happen. Ready for this? Here we go. Here we go. Take it, boys. Wait.
Oh, there he goes.
One more. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next part. This is where you get jazzed up. Start the mosh pit. Okay. Are there any questions of where drop D lives?
I have no. Well, actually, I do have a question, Dylan. Well, first of all, that was Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name. What are a couple of lessons on the site to get us started with drop D? That's something
Okay.
for us.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Honestly, so if you're a beginner, don't be intimidated by this whole tuning your guitar differently thing, right? Because this is the access. This is your access point to alternate tunings. It's the very first step in alternate tunings. And in fact, there's a lesson on Fender Play that discusses just this. It's called Show Me Drop D Tuning. And it has a full course. You learn how to drop D, and then you also practice getting in and out of it, and you'll learn your first little ditties. Some great songs on the site to do this, though, if you're into the metal scene. More Human Than Human, White Zombie, okay? Mm-hmm. Outshined, Soundgarden. And then also Unsung, Helmet. There's actually quite a few songs on there. Why does it work well with metal? Why? Well, for a couple of reasons. It's all the same reasons that it works well with other types of or other genres of music, but probably the main reason is that lower tone. So if you hear that, it just allows for all this different sort of nefarious character of the guitar when it can go lower and you put a bunch of distortion on it.
It's deeper. It's deeper in tone and pitch, right? So it's just a little more depth. Now, David Wild, thank you for those tips there. By the way, Dylan, I appreciate that. Now, David Wild on YouTube is saying, "What happens to the chord shapes when you do this tuning, Barrett?"
What happened to the chord shapes when you do this tuning?
Mm-hmm.
Good question.
So, like for instance, I mean, if you needed to play a basic open G chord,
right.
So how would that affect that shape?
So yeah, well, of course, with D, you can still play. The fun thing about it, you can still play that regular D chord, right? Play the full thing, and then of course for G, you kind of have to move your ring finger or whatever finger over to the 5th fret. And you can play this, but you have to sort of mute that open A string there, and then maybe grab 3rd fret of high E there. But yeah, and then for like an E, you kind of have to do this, adding, your normal E, but you have to add your middle finger here to that 2nd fret. And then kind of same thing for some of those other minor shapes if I move it up.
That's good.
Yeah, so you do have to do a little bit of thinking, but actually when you mess around with it, it's not too bad.
Not too bad. And now here's something that I know that in the early days of Bob Dylan's career, he would play in a drop D a lot with a capo usually, and so he would play a song in D, or at least in a D shape, and we go to the 4 chord, which would be G. Instead of doing the move that you mentioned, he would just play the 2nd fret of his A string, so you hear the 3rd on top. I'm capable. So there's a song on the side.
That's this one. Yeah, just one finger, or you can add that pinky. Yeah.
Right, exactly. You just don't play that D string at all. So it will affect some things. Now, on the site, we have a song called The Motorcycle Song by Arlo Guthrie, speaking of folk.
Great tune.
So in drop D, we have it capoed at the 5th fret, therefore we're hearing it in the key of G. And he's got this really nice, simple, alternating bass line, this really country 1-5-1 sort of thing. That's the basic figure there. And it's kind of nice. You get this walking bass line here, and obviously my fret hand's way to being free. So you can do that. Right? I don't want a pickle. Just want a motorcycle. That whole thing. And then when he closes here, second fret A string, I'm saying second fret, even though I have the capo, he's essentially covering his foreground. Then he's got this beautiful walk down.
Yeah.
So you can learn the motorcycle song by Arlo Guthrie in this drop D tuning. And of course, you don't have to have it capo at the 5th fret. Learn it open if you like. As you move the capo along, you can change your key quite easily. Let's see here. Do we have more questions? Sorry, just want to check here. Oh, actually not a question, but Jeff Rob 073 on YouTube. Did Waylon Jennings use a drop D or a drop E string with a phaser? Of course. Well, yeah, he certainly did. I don't know if I'm in. Do you have any phaser effect on your telly there, Dylan?
I could make one happen if you stall long enough.
If you do, it's very outlaw. It's a pure outlaw country sound there with usually a Telecaster, but any electric will do. And
phaser.
Yes, you have drop D with a little bit of phaser.
Oh yeah.
Is that moving too fast? Maybe a little
Plus the
swimmy.
reverb.
I get the idea. Throw some minor third bends in there for me, buddy.
There it is.
There you go. That's it. Jeff Rob, that's for you. That's for you. David Gordon on YouTube. I think Cinnamon Girl is in drop D. Absolutely. Cinnamon. Neil Young's a very, very he drop D a lot. Facebook, Steve Brosnan is saying, for the first time since joining Fender Play, I'm currently wearing the same T-shirt as Dylan.
Oh my gosh!
He says,
Wow.
Your T-shirt.
Wow!
On your
it's a
birthday.
scratcher day.
What are the odds?
I don't know.
Steve.
Now, guys, let's not forget about tone and gear. Barrett, what would be your suggestion to someone who wants to get started in drop D in terms of gear and how to set tone and some of the things you can that kind of expand on this tuning?
Sure. I mean, one of the things about drop, it takes you out of your element a little bit, which is fun, and then you can add whatever effects. I mean, like what we were just talking about, definitely in the metal world, lots of distortion, fuzz. And then I kind of have like a chorusy thing happening here, but also, tremolo, anything really. You can't really limit yourself with drop D. I don't think, but,
with amp settings, sorry to interrupt, but with amp settings,
sure.
do we have to turn down the bass knob a little bit, or is it fine where it is? Do we have to adjust for this tuning at all?
I mean, I don't think so. You might even want more bass since you're going down there, depending on what it is. You might even want to put on an octaver, a lower octaver, get some more bass.
Can I chime in here, guys?
Absolutely.
Please.
Am I going too nuts? Am I going too crazy?
No. In fact, we're gonna let the frogs out. In junior high, I had a half stack with a separate bass cabinet.
Oh, wow.
Just so my low D tuning would make the bass player completely obsolete.
Yeah,
and
you don't need a bass player at that point. And that's every guitarist's goal. Just kidding.
And there were never any snakes in Dylan's neighborhood middle.
There was no vermin, snake, nothing.
No vermin.
Very few living things.
Listen, so we can discuss. How about some notable players? Obviously, Waylon Jennings and Neil Young came up, but John Lennon used it for Dear Prudence.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
David Gilmour, Kurt Cobain, obviously, Tom Morello, Jimmy Page, Going to California was one of the more famous, and Kim Thayil in Soundgarden. Who else, Dylan, can you think of?
So did we mention Adam Jones from Tool?
No, you play. Oh, yes, Adam Jones from Tool. Very good.
I played a little bit of Tool earlier, and I think that's definitely one of the guys. I mean, honestly, pretty much if you step into any rock genre, especially hard rock or metal, chances are you're going to step into some drop D tuning stuff. And there's one thing that we'd be remiss if we didn't mention, which is there's a technique that keeps reappearing in everybody's playing, and it's this alternating bass note strum, right? And there's a great lesson on Fender Play about that, but that's one of those styles that really lends itself to drop D tuning because of its sort of pianoistic, drony nature. So
absolutely,
that's a tangent.
tangent.
Yeah.
Eric Silver from YouTube. This is a gimme question, by the way.
Oh,
Eugene,
here we go.
I noticed you have Trouble Boys on your shelf. Did the replacements use any drop D tunings? Actually, they didn't. They used a lot of alternate tunings, but drop D was not one of them. Nice try, though. John on YouTube, how would a 7-string guitar work with drop D? Guys,
Wow.
either of you. I don't
We
have
have
a
to tune up.
I'm going to need a calculator for that.
That's right. You have to get an abacus and
Yeah.
do the math.
Carry
Let's-
the one.
Let's hear one more performance before we get to the homework. Barrett, can you play something by Mitski?
Absolutely.
Get something
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
some modern rock going here?
You guys hear that? So it's a little fuzz tone I've got there.
Nice effect.
This is your best American girl, something like the chorus. Your mother wouldn't approve how my mother raised me. I do, I think I do. That's all I got for that.
There you go.
But that's
That
a
was
great.
sultry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I crooned
Yeah.
it a little bit. That's a great one for the one finger. Move it around, play the chords, sing the song.
And you're just concentrating on the lower 3 strings in your strum hand.
Yeah.
You can get away with a lot there. Very, very cool. Okay, so let's get to the homework. Dylan, I'm going to have you take over. Oh, well, Barrett,
All right.
you should chime in here because you know plenty about the homework in
Sure.
our curriculum.
I'll try.
Okay. So excellent. You've made it to the homework, folks. Let's get going. If you're a beginner, check out the course on Fender Play, and that's the alternate tunings with drop D. It's called Show Me Drop D. And basically, just try to tune your guitar down to drop D. Just get that first step down, get comfortable with that. Move the ship 1%, you'll be on a different course, right? So for intermediate, alternating thumb picking, or we call that on the site, we call it alternating bass note strum. And it's using Motorcycle Song or not More Human Than Human. In fact, you could play More Human Than Human, but do not use alternating bass note strum, please. That's a very dangerous idea.
Okay.
That's White Zombie. So you have Motorcycle Song or White Zombie. And finally, for advanced, we have All Apologies. So you heard that earlier from Barrett. Barrett, can you give him a little taste of that?
Absolutely.
Just a tiny,
Yep.
just,
I got
just half of it. Not all the apologies, but some of them.
Slow. Alternate picking here. You don't have to be too clean with it. Get that melody in your head. Practice those notes by themselves. Yeah.
That's a pro tip right there.
Yeah.
That was it. That was
Then
the,
add
that
in
was
the
the
low bass.
addendum. I like it.
Exactly.
Or if you want to take the Fender Play Challenge, okay, Outshined by
Outshined.
Soundgarden.
We should both reach for your effects at the same time. That's great.
I got it
That's
first.
all right. I can just interpret dance that one.
You can take the chorus.
See, really, it's one of those things. It's just so overwhelming that people
Yeah. It
generally
overtakes you.
It overtakes you, yeah. So that's it. So again, beginning, try the alternate tuning lesson on drop D. Intermediate, alternating bass note strum lesson, or check out the Motorcycle Song More Human Than Human by White Zombie. Advanced, All Apologies or Outshined by Soundgarden. So you've got a yin and yang on each one of those.
They got this.
There we go.
They got this, Dylan.
That's
now it's
great.
time for the play segment. Let's talk about giving some stuff away.
This is excellent. So we talk about it every week, guys. But if you're new, we give away gear on this show every single week. We're talking about guitars, amps, all kinds of gear. Basically, you get to pick.
Are
from a
guests
huge
involved
list
in
of
this?
things. You know what? Unfortunately, Barrett, no.
Okay. All right.
No. And so basically, no, we've given
try.
away hundreds of pieces of gear, and none of them went to Barrett. So you may be asking yourself, how do I, unlike Barrett, how can I become eligible for this? And the answer is you just use Fender Play for a minimum of 21 minutes in a week, 3 7-minute streaks, and you're automatically entered to win. You don't have to do anything. Then I get to call your name at the end of the show like this. Do you guys want to hear one this week?
Yep.
Low D bass drum roll.
Give me a drone. Channel the bagpipes. Jai T. I knew it was going to be Jai.
Jai
I knew
T.
it was Jai.
Jai T. That sounds refreshing.
I said it
Congratulations, Jai, and enjoy your new bass, guitar, amp, whatever it is you choose. It's going to be delivered to you. What else do you have for us today, Dylan?
Okay, hey, we got a huge batch of new things on the site. So make sure you get to the site, check it out. Check out the songs tab, look under what's new. You're going to see Donna by Richie Valens, Lean on Me, See if you can hear my guitar. See? Anyways, there's a ton of new stuff on the site. Dust My Broom by can you play
James.
that for us? Elmore James? Give me a little taste of that.
He normally uses a slide, but you get the idea.
All the brooms were clean.
Great
All of them.
classic blues.
It's a great tune. Tom's Diner and The Lion's Roar by First Aid Kit. So there's a ton of new stuff on the site. Check it out. Make sure you always look at the new skills too, and just use the search bar.
That's a lot of range.
That is
for new tunes. I mean, we've got from Richie Valens to First Aid Kit to Suzanne Vega.
It's the conical.
Is it? Okay. Sure. I'll have to look that up. Well, listen, this has been a Thin Slice of Heaven. We've come to the end, folks. Huge thank you to Barrett Wilson for helping us with Drop D. Barrett, thank you very, very much.
Thanks for having me, everyone.
Barrett.
Now, we want to hear what you have coming up, Barrett. I know you make some of your own tunes. How do we find out about you?
I'm working on new music. I'll put it out sometime, hopefully this year. So you can look out for me. You can actually catch me in the community too, in the Facebook community. Usually they're on Wednesdays occasionally. And my Instagram is Elephono, ELEPHONO. And then also look for me on Bandcamp, barrettwilson.bandcamp.com. That's where some of my music is.
Wow.
He's easily found, everybody.
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
There we go.
You have a YouTube presence. There you go. Dylan, thank you very, very much for helping out with Drop D as well, as always. And to everyone out there, please keep safe, keep practicing. And we'll see you next week at the same time and the same place. We're going to go out on a G chord with a very, very low fifth in there. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.